Ah,
Wait. Couple things. First, where did you get that chicken coop video? Did you surf it off the internet?
talking to me.
Well, I just want to know if it's someone we know before I start insulting it.
I think it was Kurt Malaz, maybe. I don't know. I don't
there's no
know.
way
Maybe
you
it was
didn't
Lane's. Was it Lane's?
No,
maybe it was Vasilio's. I don't know.
Probably not a Winthrop one, but
There's
the blue top in the background, whatever it's covering, was classic. And all I could think of was Green Acres. And
there you go. That was the theme. That was the theme right there. That's
so
right.
we're talking about chickens, but you know something? As I watch the comedy unfold, I'm thinking we're minimizing this a little because it's not necessarily about the chickens per se.
It's not. They are the catalyst. They are the catalyst to this whole thing. But it is a deeper issue. You know?
Yep.
It's transparent. It's just overreach. It's making stuff up as you go along, as the Board of Health seems to do.
I will say,
choose. What's that?
Go. I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
No, I was going to say, pick and choose whatever works for you. Pick whatever, I don't care what they say. I hate this. It has become a real pet peeve of me that Winthrop decides to flag policies and now chicken coops. And we looked at this towns and that towns, and you and I have had this discussion. I've had this discussion with a former town council member. Well, you need something to jump off of. No, you don't. You need original thought. You need original thinker. You need people that can look at something and go, this is the way it should be. Evidently, everybody sets their policy up the way they want it, right? And what Winthrop does is they pick and choose from towns that fit whatever board or committee is there. It fits their agenda. They never think of, we don't like it, but it is good for the people. It never works that way in Winthrop. It never works that way.
It's interesting you say that because this is supposed to be Professor Ignatowski made the comment several times that he's doing what he thinks or they think is in the best interest of the community. And what we never heard them say was, we also think chickens are good for this, that, or the other thing. That never came out of their mouth.
They don't. They're combative. They're adversarial.
And I was having coffee with a friend, someone well respected in the community, and he was saying, he watched the video and he was saying, look, this is not. He doesn't agree with what's going on. There's absolutely zero logic behind their policy. In fact, it kind of defies logic. There's no health issue. There's just concerns, and I'm sure we're going to get to that tonight. Again, this isn't about the chicken coops per se. That's why we're dedicating 2 nights to this, because this is a bigger issue with what you were saying, Scott, where overreach, flag policy is coming back up again. And the smallest voices are the ones being heard. I mean, this chicken coop policy is protecting the smallest number of people, but it doesn't think about the larger number of people, the kids who will benefit, the neighbors of Vasily and all the neighbors of the other chicken coop owners who will benefit from the free eggs. And I think Scott's frozen. Oh, there he comes back. We should let Kurt in, because this is going to, here we go. So I was talking to myself there for a little while.
Yeah, he's still frozen.
He's still frozen. So what'd you think of the opening?
That was hilarious.
Right? That chicken coop was hilarious. Poor Scott's trying to participate, and I know he's getting angry.
Yeah, he's kind of
look at
distorted. He's gone.
Well,
at least that was a good intro. Nice change.
The great intro was hilarious. Oh, guy can hear you? No?
Yeah, I'm going to be in and out probably like a drunk at a liquor store. So, just bear with my technical difficulties tonight, but we'll get through it.
Fun with it.
Yeah, that's what makes me the best producer in live streaming, right there. Stuff like that.
Quick on your feet.
Right? You know what it is? I have the ability that the Winthrop Board of Health doesn't have. I think outside the box, or in this case, the chicken coop, right? You got to. I don't think they have the capacity to compromise. I think that they're all. It's starting to look to me like they're all ego struck. With, God damn it, what I say goes. That's it. I'm gonna argue with you. I'm making sure the way I want it goes. It's not only an unprofessional attitude, it's an immature attitude. Okay. And there's one thing that I didn't bring up last week. Now, Bill the Shill Schmidt has already proven that he's a narcissist. If you watch last week's show, I pointed out a number of times, and his actions speak everything. He also has a superiority complex. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room every single day, every meeting.
I think it's more of that.
He's the smartest guy in the room. I'm superior to you. And I will argue with you because I'm smarter than you. I will not compromise. I will not bend. That's the problem here. That is the main problem. There's no compromise with them. I'm sure Kurt and Vasily and Lane and whoever else wants to, have a chicken coop could come up with a middle ground where they'll say, all right, I'm happy with that. You're happy with it. We don't all get what we want, but we can walk away from this saying we got something. That group right there, those three, the three from, no, I won't say it. Well, there was a Rob Zombie movie. It was called Three from Hell. I don't know why that popped into my mind, but they have no compromise in them. They have zero compromise. Am I wrong here?
But you know,
correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you know what they're saying. We don't they're basically saying you don't compromise on health, which is insinuating they're the health experts, which quite frankly, compared to me, they are. But on this issue, I can see the forest through the trees here. There are no people getting sick and dying from these things they're concerned about.
You know what makes them experts? Google. I Googled this and I Googled that. That makes them experts.
And I'm going to hit you with a baseball bat.
Well, guess what? I could Google something that says the chicken coops are good and there's no health. Well, Kurt did it. Kurt didn't Google. Kurt found the information, maybe through Google. Okay. But
I went into the health sites.
Yeah, that there's worse things in Winthrop. These chicken coops, they just really don't want to do it because they don't like it. But there's no compromise. Listen, even in the biggest union meetings I had with on the federal level, big negotiations, management and bargaining unit, there's compromise. There's compromise. There's always a middle ground. They don't have that. They don't have the ability or the capacity to do that.
Well, here's something I want to.
They're proving that.
I'll throw her in here. You know, he likes to reference other cities and everything, which is great and fine.
But it's lazy.
But if you're going to reference it, why are you picking and choosing not to follow what they're doing? If it's already functioning and already working and giving the benefit to those who are willing to do the right thing. So like that 5 Revere, 5 and 3 setback, side and rear. Yep. Why wouldn't you follow that? Why are you only going to 10? It doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry, Kurt. Because it gives Vasily what he wants, and that's not what Bill wants.
That's right.
I mean, you're right, Kurt. That's a great point. The town is famous for when I was in contract negotiations with the teachers union. Well, they got this in Revere and this and this one. This, it's like, okay, great. Why don't you read the contract language that went along with that raise, right? Same kind of thing here. He says we referenced and looked at all these other cities and towns, and then he takes like almost nothing. I think the only thing he took was 12 to 6 chickens from other communities. But he didn't. The setbacks aren't even close. 50 feet. I mean, that's restrictive. That doesn't work in a city.
Well, look what he did throughout the meeting. He double talks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, well, me and Tracy Honan did this, and me and Tracy Honan. And then, well, Tracy Honan went and reneged on what she said, and she reversed her take. Well, that's her point of view, right?
That was hilarious.
Within 21 seconds, the guy references Tracy Honan, and when he finds out that she reversed, because he didn't even know, he jumps to his, well, that's her opinion. Well, you just referenced her, you idiot. And then the thing about the animals. Well, we don't cover animals. That little blurb that I kept repeating, and you hear him say that, then what is this about? Then what are we talking about here?
So it's a regulation for keeping of animals that they did.
In the name of the regulation.
But he said, it's the videos right there. And he can say all he wants. Oh, I must have misspoke. No, he knew exactly what he was saying. He was coming at, I think he was talking to you or Vasilio about that. And he knew exactly, he said, we don't deal with animals. That's animal control. Right? So animal control, let me, by his rationale, let me get comfortable for a second here. By his rationale, right? The animal control is in charge of the how can I put it, the illnesses that dog poop can cause. Not the Board of Health. Animal control are the ones that are in charge of that health issue, not the Board of Health. Where does this make any sense? Right? I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I know that. I'm just hoping maybe one of you guys can think.
And then the whole bringing up cats. I mean, if you're having keeping of animals regulations, you can include cats.
Yeah, they're animals.
Are birds in there? Are there birds in there?
Different birds are in there. There's horses in there. There's pigs in there. There's goats in there. So, not animals, but, I don't know what they're considered.
Whole zoo is in there.
Everything, but cats. Mice, ferrets aren't in there, but it's just interesting that it's the way he's put this out, even in emails that he's sent, he describes, what they looked into, the documents from the CDC, university, NIH, all that kind of stuff, and they reference all that. But the thing is, they never looked at the true sicknesses and how many people get them. So they're basically asking people to come with the information to provide them the statistics instead of them doing their due diligence and getting that information prior to making the regulation.
Yeah. Yep. Trying to find this video.
It's really it's really a very simple issue we have here. We have a Board of Health that the state has granted a lot of power, and what we're seeing, even on the small of a scale, is kind of like almost like a corruption type thing. Not really, but kind of like, why can't, even if it doesn't say in the letter of the law that you need to compromise with the community, wouldn't you want to do it anyway to some degree to keep us off your back, for starters? And if you care about urban farming like you all said you do, why wouldn't you want to try to work with, because there's no health risk, right? I mean, Kurt, correct me if I'm wrong. In all the data you supplied and that you showed me, and that the data and information that Vasily supplied and showed us, was there any significant numbers of bird flu from chicken coops outbreaks?
Not bird flu. What the worry is that you have the wild birds that could bring it to your coop, to your chickens.
Okay. Okay. So
it's
a zoonotic disease, though. It's a zoonotic disease.
Yeah.
Which means it can be transmitted from animal to human, right?
Yep.
So they're not worried about the people. They're not worried about the infected bird, right? Landing in a bird feeder, right? And feeding off that and then getting other birds sick. And then I go and fill my bird feeder, right? They're not worried about that. They're worried about them getting your chickens. And then your chickens are going to get people sick.
Yeah, that's
that don't come in contact with people, by the way, other than, the handler.
So the other thing with this also is that if you go to a petting zoo, the thing they tell you is wash your hands after. That's the same thing with any pets. And I gave them a whole, a booklet full of information from the medical journal.
They're not reading it.
And it was about dogs and how sick dogs can make humans.
I have an idea. You can have your bird coop. You got to put a hand sanitizing station outside of the coop that the public can get to in case they touch your fence. I don't know. just riffing here.
Listen,
I mean, I'm more worried about our food that we're getting right now that's filled with salmonella, E. coli, and all that. There was just another beef recall today for E. coli. And yet we're, struggling with our Board of Health trying to get a 5-foot rear and side setback along with a few other, 12 chickens. I mean, if you have the space, why not just allow it?
Yeah.
So
let me get this.
1 second, Scott. 1 second. Kurt. So I'll repeat the question just to say, do we have any meaningful numbers of people getting sick from what the Board of Health is afraid of?
No.
Thank you.
0.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott.
Facebook, one of the viewers says talking about chickens as a health hazard is absurd when in Winthrop we need to be concerned about alcohol and drug use with our youth. It's a joke.
I agree.
And
100% I agree.
And this is the torch that they want to carry. This is the hill they want to die on, right? They're going to win this chicken coop battle, like regardless. This is their mission. It's like now it's a matter of you. No, we're gonna win. You're gonna do what we say.
So is this? I mean, we'd have to probably ask Bill Schmidt if this is under their purview for the Board of Health.
Well, Bill has a wide purview that he gets to pick and choose from, evidently, because last year at this time, it was literally this week or last week, he was overreaching with Tracy Honan and Lenora Foley, she, her, about the transgender issue in the school, and Bill the Shill Schmidt was trying to get all the committee heads in Winthrop and all the board heads to sign a letter to send to the town council about this agenda issue. So Bill has evidently a wide purview of what he picks and chooses is healthy for the town.
Yeah,
right?
And he definitely has his views and opinions. And you know what? I give him some respect because he's pretty steadfast on it, and he does do some digging for information. It's all his opinion, and like you said, he's not listening to.
It's not flexible. No, he's superiority complex, narcissist, misogynist. The guy just covers a lot of bases with his unprofessional, immature.
It's not that I don't hate the guy. I don't. I just think being on the chair, 1, he should be more professional. 2, he shouldn't be a chair. No. Just because of his persona and the way he is. He's very, at some points he talks down to you.
He's combative. Yeah. Superiority complex.
Yes.
I'm the smartest guy in the room.
He's ill-suited to be serving in any capacity.
He has 0 leadership qualities. 0.
And that Facebook user is 100% right. We have more concern over drugs and alcohol with youth in this town than we ever will with chickens. This shouldn't even be a discussion. And it should.
But they would say the same to us. We shouldn't even be arguing about this. Just do what we say. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they're worried about bird flu. They're worried about. I just got a text. What about health hazards from breathing exhaust from jet engines? Has the Board of Health ever dealt with that?
Might not be their purview.
Oh, well, just like dog poop isn't their purview. Animals aren't their purview, but chickens are.
So let's, just a quick question. So I just want to make sure we're clear, and maybe someone has the answer to this. So if somebody's kid somehow gets sick from the dog poop, and then we have an outbreak of some kind.
Well, you know what? We got that guy on video now.
We call Van Buster? We call the dog officer?
Yeah, animal control. Now we have him on video saying, like I always say, caught in 4K, saying we don't deal with dog poop. We don't deal with those issues. So if it happens, he's dead in the water. Let me pull up this video. Let me get to this.
But anyway,
let's see. Let me see. I'm gonna have to try to find it because I think I have
5 people in town that we know about that have.
Let's see. Hold on. All right.
We're talking 12 to 6 to 12
written complaints.
No.
Has it all.
We're in a densely. No, I don't.
Trying to find.
Not even.
Possibly legislate against.
But I've said what I'm going to say.
It
No, that's
possibly legislate. I get G.
Persons, I'm sure you're aware of it, is the fungus. So they put a huge problem. I called anyone who would talk to me. I am not,
Is more likelihood of
There's going to be people
There we
with
go.
no regulation. Fifth, bullet make anything that has stated that there's anything.
the 5 people in town that we know about that have chickens.
So we're gonna try to-
He didn't let me know about anybody inquiring about anything doing with bees. So, I think I probably said a few things, and maybe a couple comments. I apologize if I got a little emotional. I apologize to everyone here. But Jean or Marion, any particular comments you want to make?
Marianne, can comment. I'm just making my notes neater so I can read my
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah, I know the last Board of Health meeting, I think Vasily said, have you found anything that has stated that there is a health risk with chickens in the front yard? And, you know, I know that you, Vasily, have looked long and hard for anything saying that there's a health risk. And I'm sure that you didn't find anything, but you didn't find anything saying that there's absolutely no health risk.
All right. I thought,
Temperature down.
oh my Lord.
I'm sorry.
Is that her
was probably
defense?
the dumbest statement I've ever heard.
That is
I heard it
not
that
a
night.
smart statement.
Not even close. I'm sorry.
That's like the burden
I'm
of
very
proof.
sorry.
The burden of proof, right, was on Vasily to find that there was no problems.
And he did.
And he did, right? It's like, and then so he brings it to her and she says, but you didn't find anything that says it doesn't either, or it does. You know, you
But
didn't
what
find,
he found
you
by
didn't find
definition-
us. She's supposed to find that.
She don't even have to. He gave it to her. What he said by very definition is the answer to her request.
And then when he gives it to her, she says, but,
Not-
okay, you found something that doesn't say it doesn't, but did you find anything that says it does? Like, whoa.
even
You're
if you
supposed
do-
to find that.
When you
She's
do
supposed
find
to
that
find that.
information, it is so minute compared to so many other non-chicken related things where people naturally get sick. Change of seasons. People are allergic to stuff. How are we gonna control the pollen? People get really sick from it, right? It just doesn't make sense with some of the answers that come back out.
What she just
From
said
what
is
they say.
absolutely
Let's
ludicrous.
put this in a vacuum for just for a second. What she said in a vacuum. So
And
I
you're
can
right,
make-
Kurt.
make
You're
my
absolutely
point.
right, Kurt.
Put this in a vacuum for a second. What Vasily provided was proof that there is no issue, because the absence of proof that there is an issue is proof there is no issue. And
If you dig hard enough, you will find people getting sick from chickens. You will.
but it's not right.
But if you do it by like ratio of how many chickens versus
it's
you know,
not.
compared across the country,
It's not a
you got
statistically
one
significant
avian
number.
flu, human avian flu
One
in 1 year. That's it.
If
across
you
the
dig-
country.
Avian flu.
If
Now
you dig hard,
salmonella, you can get, which they do have stats for salmonella from chickens also, and that's usually people not cleaning and doing the proper cleaning for chickens and all that. But you can also go grab a slab of beef or chicken from the store, and when you're shopping, and you can get it. So
You know-
it just, you can't compare
no,
numbers.
you just said something. If you look hard enough, if you look hard enough,
You'll
if you
find it.
dig deep enough, you could find somewhere that says McDonald's is good for you. Right? I mean, I cannot believe she said that. But you
Listen,
didn't tell us anything that did.
Kurt, what you
Like
just shared,
that's this big epiphany.
Kurt, what you just shared is factually correct, right? But
So the
It's-
one avian flu, yes, salmonella was like almost 1,300 recorded. There were a couple of deaths from it, 0
Yes.
in Massachusetts.
there-
17 cases, I believe, of salmonella in Massachusetts with all the chickens we have in Massachusetts.
this is akin to comparing it to, I don't know, a fart in the wind. Like There's no statistical significance here to the outbreak. In other words, the overwhelmingly 95 or 98% of the climate scientists believe the humans are killing the planet. Okay, well, overwhelmingly here, nobody's getting sick, based upon the ratios of huge chicken farms and how many chickens we have and how many birds fly everywhere. It's not happening in any meaningful numbers. So it's irrelevant. There's no proof needed to say that it's an absolute, because there are no absolutes.
Right.
Except gravity. I don't know. There's a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but there's no scientific law when it comes to this stuff. It's just,
Well, isn't that what Bill said? Well, you know, you can get tested, but what about the next day after you get tested?
another insane
Once a year. Once a year. Well, what happens 3 days after you get tested? Anything can happen. So by his idiotic rationale, we should get tested every single day.
Why do we think? Okay, so let's take off the character flaws we think we see. Can any one of you, either of you two, find like a scientific reason why they would be taking this position?
No, I've said this from the beginning. The chicken snobs, they just don't want chickens in Winthrop. They don't think it's a good look. We're Winthrop.
Some cities and towns that actually have the zoning board regulate.
That's what this should be doing. This is where this should be.
And some cities include the Board of Health. So there's a little bit of mixture in there. If you
this
go
needs to
statewide
go to
and
an
start
appeals
really looking
board.
at,
There needs to be an appeals board for the Board of Health.
We have a,
you know, they are not the end all be all.
All right.
State. You go to the state next, right?
You can go to the state. You can go to the Attorney General. Anytime a Board of Health does something, you can go to the Attorney General.
Then that's what we're doing.
So
when do I have to buy when do I buy my plane ticket, Kurt? You and me, buddy.
I think you'll see in a couple of the videos from the Zooms where Bill kind of alludes to that what he says is final say. We're the Board of Health.
Oh, he said it more than what I say. Remember, I'm Bill the Shill Schmidt. Yes. I can call a national emergency. I can declare a state emergency. I could declare an emergency in Winthrop. Look at me. Narcissistic.
Yeah, this Facebook user is 100% right that I'm seeing pop up about the real health issues that are going on in this town with the kids. There's a lot of kids that are depressed. There's, that the shutdown of schools and everything affected kids pretty bad. That should be what they're doing.
Todd
focusing on that. And Jeannie was the one who actually was trying to drive that.
Well,
which made sense.
She doesn't, because Bill doesn't listen to her. They don't get this. I don't know. Is this a case between Jeannie and Marianne? Is this a case of Stockholm syndrome? Like, they'll do whatever Bill says because they feel like now they're connected to him, although he treats them like garbage, it seems like. But they'll still follow him. Stockholm syndrome, where the captors start empathizing with their kidnappers.
I have to think it's more to do with the fact that this is a volunteer position, and I know it's not necessarily an excuse, but people unconsciously don't give their all for these free positions. They just don't. It's and I'm not knocking anyone's work. I thank God we have them. Someone's doing it, but if it's that much, we should think about either paying it or not. People that do it don't do it. I don't know.
So here's another thing with this too, is that it's all volunteer. I mean, Todd, you and I were on the ORC. I dig into things when I'm volunteering my time. I take my time to look into it, try and get the data, because I volunteered to do this. If you don't want to do the work, we shouldn't be volunteering, but that also puts us in a position, well, who are we going to get to do it then?
And that's why some people do, like, sometimes, I've heard people say, look, I was begged to do this, so I'm doing the best I can. And what do you say to that?
Yeah.
But while you're doing it, just look at things with common sense and take what people are saying to you, and don't be combative and argumentative and my way is the only way. It makes your life a lot easier to be able to absorb what people are saying and say, you know what, that makes sense.
I will say, when I served, a lot of my effort was saved. I mean, I put time in and I dug deep on things where I really needed to go deep, but I let the experts, when they came to present in front of us, I took the experts' information, and then I would take time to think about it, talk to my peers on the council about it offline, and do my own research. But it really isn't that hard to do if you actually listen to the people who come to your meetings and give you information. That's the part.
I don't like people telling me that things that I know are wrong. I'm going to correct you right on the spot.
Everybody needs to be open to being wrong about their position. Everybody. And that includes me.
So this Facebook user is talking, the chickens. Now, like we said, the chickens are the catalyst. Problem, and what we're really talking about is the Board of Health's overreach and their lack of what's the word I'm looking for? The inability to work with people.
No compromise, yeah.
Yeah, with no compromise. The inability, and they can say, oh, you can't do that in the name of health. This isn't a real health issue. They're making it a health issue. This is them that made it a health issue. This is them that's taking it to the next level, just so they can get what they want. This could have been done a month ago. This could have been taken care of. All right, let's see what else. This Jeannie? Is this Jeannie?
No, this is Marianne.
Mariana. Oh, all right. There we go.
So either point is not proven because there's more
Either point isn't proven.
studies that need to be done. So in the meantime, we have this burgeoning hen community industry in Winthrop.
Industry.
That, it's wonderful. It makes eggs. It's educative, but we had no regulations whatsoever, or outdated regulations from, I think, 2011.
The horror of no regulations.
From 2011, I think she said, outdated. You know how many health regulations there are in Winthrop that go back to the 70s?
I just have to laugh. But see, the beautiful thing is there was no problem until the government got involved. Now, and of course, I'm being somewhat facetious. You have to have some regulations, but it's not a crisis.
But she threw in outdated. I mean, listen, you know what's outdated? A policy that was made last year. It's already outdated.
Right. Agreed.
You start using outdated as your excuse. Well, you're opening up a can of worms.
When there was still things about cattle and goats and pigs. And all we're trying to do is trying to make it more reasonable. I hear a lot of people saying that we're making it more restrictive. I found on the website, on the town ordinances, what used to be the ordinance, 50 feet from one way and 20 feet from the other. We're not saying, oh, let's do half of that. We're doing 1/5, 10 feet, and half of 20 feet, 10 and 10. It's a new, for those who have been having chickens, of course, it's not a new thing. But for the Board of Health, this is a new thing. That's the reason why we're making new regulations.
According to Bill the Shill Schmidt, this isn't a new thing. According to him, as he said last week in the videos, we've been working on this since 2016.
Yeah.
Did he not say that?
He did.
So what is she talking about? What is she talking about? This is, the deeper we get into this, the more we see none of them know what the other one's doing. They just know we don't want chicken coops. They contradict each other. They contradict themselves. They make absurd statements all in the defense of what they want to do. Bill said it last week, 2016.
So where we're bringing the information to them.
And they're fighting it.
Why would they not be listening to us?
Because they don't want chickens. I'm telling you, I said this from the beginning. This is them trying to preserve the integrity of Winthrop. We don't want chickens in front yards. They'll look down on us. This is really the nucleus of this whole thing. This is the deep-rooted issue of this. They don't want...
Some of the most, let's say, financially towns that have the most kind of taxes being brought in with, big money people living there have chickens in it. They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And
But that
they're-
doesn't fit their agenda, so they look elsewhere for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, they quoted like Newton, that they looked at Newton's. There's a lot of money in Newton.
Yep.
But their setbacks are not 10 feet. Now, I will stand corrected. I still have yet to get that document that says we were at 5 feet. But I'll guarantee you, when you went and got your permit over the past couple of years, it was 5 feet. I just can't find the document anywhere now. And it was up there. So I will stand corrected that I cannot find it right now. And it's kind of
Right
bothering
now.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to keep digging.
Okay.
Because I have to go look at my other computer and dig up all the stuff that I say. I have like pages and pages of information.
All right.
So they are correct that the ordinance did say 50 feet and the 20 feet and all that kind of stuff. The old ordinance, it did say that. But there's absolutely no reason why they can't, and we'll say compromise, and follow suit of what all the other cities are doing, because that's what they based off what this keeping of animals was done for. They took some words exactly from other cities to put it in this
choose. They
keeping of
cherry
regulations.
Yeah, it's more restrictive than Boston, which is more densely packed than we are. Like it just
Somerville.
doesn't make sense. It
They-
it defies logic.
They just don't want chickens in your front yard. That's their thing. This is
That's
the
why
bottom. This is
people-
where it's all coming back to.
That's why you have those opinions, Scott, because they don't compromise. They won't even listen to it. They just keep defending their position, defending. How about stop, entertain, be intellectually curious, and ask a couple of questions?
Well, the fact that there's only been one avian flu outbreak, one person, is enough evidence. But they go petty, they go immature, they go juvenile and say, well, what about tomorrow? And well, you didn't tell us there is a way that this can happen. You told us there isn't, but you didn't give us both sides. So this is if you, I see a theme here. They will say anything just to get their point across.
You can
and
go
win.
get your flu shot and get the flu the next week.
And this
the
is a
logic
perfect
doesn't
example
make
right
sense.
here. This is a perfect example right here of don't riff on a live stream, like in here. Like don't riff at a meeting, because she's actually not helping the cause. She's not helping her own cause. She's ultimately going to make her decision, and it's going to get appealed to the state. But I hope she's watching this. I hope whoever else is watching this and seeing the contradiction that this to prove their point. Anyways, let's go.
And we're not infallible. We don't claim, none of us claim to be infallible,
That's not the point here.
but we need to start somewhere. And this is where we're starting.
It already started. They had a policy that Bill decided he wanted to change when he went over to Vasili's house on a what did he say? I was attending a function.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lie. He lied right there. Vasily says there was no function. So they had something. He didn't like it. He changes it. They say, okay, Bill, whatever you want, Bill. Sure, Bill. Correct. That's the way to use that. That's the way to use that mute button, buddy. Way to use that mute button.
You learn and talk.
And again, it's these regulations or no regulations.
But there isn't no
Inevitably, there's going to
regulations.
be people with no regulations that are going to take advantage of that. I'm not saying anybody in this.
Where is there no regulations here? Is that even a thing?
Nope.
This is not like it was a blank sheet in the ordinance book. It was like chicken coops. It's just blank. Turn the page.
Nothing to
virtual
see
room
here.
is going to take advantage
That's
of
what it's-
that, but there are people that do not have the skill and the education and the means to keep chickens healthy. And
There's people that work in town hall that don't have the skills, and there's people on committees that don't have the skills and knowledge to do their job on the committees. But she's putting it on the people. She's putting it on the people, saying, hey, maybe you're not fit to be a chicken keeper. Is that the proper term? chicken keeper,
Yeah, sounds good.
Chicken wrangler. This she's making up.
And disease-free.
Ah.
So what I'm saying is,
Marianne.
you know, again, it's not a popular decision. It's not a popularity contest, unfortunately.
Ooh, that's a big statement.
But we need to start someplace.
Ms. Dalton, can I ask you just a quick follow-up question?
Sure.
Can you confirm that the health risks of owning chickens are the same in the front yard, the side yard, and the backyard?
Boom.
The point is, Vasily, there's been no studies. There's been no studies made.
Why would they do a study? Why would they do a study?
So that's not factually
locations
correct.
of chickens in people's yards. Like, is that a study?
If you go onto the CDC, which they love to recite for health risks and sicknesses and illnesses, they do studies all the time on this. It's not just chickens. They do it on all animals.
Studies?
Yeah, they do studies. If
no,
you
no,
go right on. It's
she's saying there is no studies. There is no studies. Has she been going to the AOC school of what to say? Like when you're put in a corner, just babble? That's ridiculous. There's no studies.
So
then,
UMass Amherst, it has the document, one of the documents that they read. They've actually, I think Jeannie reached out to a woman who was actually the chicken specialist that has the 1,200 chickens or whatever, 12,000 chickens. I forget the number, but I believe she works directly with UMass Amherst. They do studies on this. Because not only that, they have the 4-H club where they invite kids to learn about the benefits of it all. So yeah, they did a study on it saying you can get all these sicknesses, but then they also do, here's the benefits of it.
But she's saying location. Like Vasily,
well, they do the location studies.
Vasily, as she calls him. Here's the Vasily. He says, is there any difference between the front yard, side yard, and backyard? Well, there's no studies that say that what's the difference? How big is his yard? It's not like he's on 3 acres.
All it is about appearance.
It's appearance.
In my view, my opinion, it's appearance.
What I've been saying. It's exactly what I've been saying.
Throw up a 6-foot fence, you wouldn't even know they're there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what I said, because I don't know that I would want a chicken coop across the street from my house. I don't know. I don't necessarily like the look of it. I mean,
you know what, Todd? There might be a chicken that likes you. And it'll follow you around and it'll be your best buddy, sit up on your lap.
Listen,
I
know. And but do I have to look at where they poop and stuff? I don't know. It's not the end of the world. I wouldn't if my neighbor said we're going to put a chicken coop in the front yard, I'm not showing up to the meeting to not.
You don't see it, Todd. You really don't see it.
You know where you see things like that? Third world countries, Todd. Like your street isn't going to turn into the Philippines.
Hey,
where I've seen yards.
White van on the front yard now, an awful lot, and I haven't called Al Legee yet. Oops, he probably is watching, and he knows where I live. I
like people that
out the guy.
People that live in a neighborhood make it look presentable. This isn't like Beverly Hillbillies.
I don't disagree.
If you walked out and you saw chickens in the front yard, I'm sure it's not like, it's chicken wire and there's like a trash can in the middle, the fire going, and like someone, there's a tire somewhere in the yard.
See the one you showed with the blue top in the backyard? Did you see that chicken coop you put in the opener? I don't want that across the street.
Well, sometimes during the winter, you do need to protect the coop and put up plastic or tarps.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if my roof springs a leak, I'll throw a blue top over it, and everyone.
Well, I don't want to see that. I'm sorry, Todd. If I lived across the street from
I'd
you,
have to take it down. I would not,
and you better live with that leak, Todd. You're going to live with that leak.
Permit to have the stupid thing up there.
All right, let's see what else he has to say. Yeah.
So then why is the front yard a no, but the side yard and the backyard are yeses? What if there's no studies with health, then why then it's like it's none or it's all? What is the difference between the front, the side, and the back?
Well, none versus all would be banning chickens, which
Huh?
we would never do.
But then why not the front yard? That, because I'm still trying to figure out what the health risk is for the front yard. And there isn't.
So-
Like, and you all know this.
So
She
the
doesn't
sim-
have an
the
answer.
Come
simplest-
on, guys.
The simplest issue would actually be if you want to actually have them on backyards and have them required behind fences. Which
They
some,
are.
which some communities actually do,
But
right?
they love deflecting.
I mean, if you read some of the other ones, that's what they're requiring. They say, put them in the backyards, put fences around it so that nobody can see them.
Yeah,
That's
there,
what-
there are several, there are
So
several.
then can I put up a 6-foot fence so now you don't see them?
Can I talk now? Anyone?
They won't answer his questions. Why won't she answer his questions?
Because they don't have the answer.
But she's all knowledgeable a minute ago. She has all the answers when she's talking. But then when he asks her the logical questions, she just drinks her coffee or drinks her water. And then Bill has to try to save it. And he fails. And then if people don't see what's going on here, this is, again, it's not about the chickens. It's about these 3 people on the Board of Health that refuse to listen to anything other than what they want.
So, I think
Well,
that,
let me just one other thing. It's not just,
There you go. That's number 4.
Whoa.
That's number 4 on her, right there. There you go.
just about you. It's not, I just want to add something. It's not just about your front yard, it's about everybody else's in town. So don't always.
But why am I- Oh, you don't?
Let me finish one
Okay,
second.
go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Well, actually, because this is our discussion. You already had your public discussion, but we're gonna have it somewhat in.
You also interrupted in our conversation.
I understand that, and we're gonna be, and as you know, in previous meetings, we've had a lot of informal discussions, so.
You may go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, it's not just your front yard, it's every front yard, it's every backyard, it's every side yard. So it's not just about you.
So why am I being punished?
You're not being punished.
No, hold on. Be quiet, please, and let me finish what I was gonna say. How come I'm being punished after Ms. Dalton said I take very good care of my property, I keep up with my maintenance? Now, because we can't trust other people, I have to be punished for that? That's like me keeping the whole class after school because one kid talked. That's not right. It's not.
So we have a stop sign down the street, because most people stop but some people don't, we'll take down the stop sign because some people.
No, don't make like,
No, what I'm
you're
saying
trying
is-
to make a
No,
comparison. That makes no
when you
sense.
make. when
I
you
think we
make a
watched this last week. We
regulation-
watched this part
When you
last
make a
week.
regulation, it covers everybody. You don't say, okay, this person does a good job, so they'll do this person does a bad job, we'll do this.
But it's
Well, that's what appeals boards are for. Right? And Jack Dowd said it earlier. Let's do it on a case-by-case basis. Right? Simple.
not covering everyone because there's only 5 people.
No,
that have
but
a
it covers everybody who might come forward.
Okay, so please tell me what the health difference is from front, side, and back.
What I'm saying,
Are they all the same health risk? Are they all the same health risk?
the question is there more?
Why can't you answer it?
Let me finish.
No, answer the question.
You asked the question, I'll give you the answer, but I
Give
want to
me
give
the
you.
answer, please.
I'll
Yes
give
or
you the
no?
answer. I'll give you the answer I want to know. Is more likelihood of people being endangered by chickens that are close to the public than if they're not?
Bill, look at the picture, please. Can you, because you were looking.
He's making it up. He could have said that an hour ago. But now
So
it's like, what's that?
For a fact, yes. If people are closer to chickens, you run a higher risk of getting sick from them. Yes, that is true. But take in consideration all the other pets that are out there, people that have lizards. Lizards give salmonella. Cats, wild cats out there that run around in town,
Stray
they can
cats.
be very sick. You get a scratch from them and you can be very sick. I mean, the logic behind some of this just does not make sense.
Nope.
Looking down during, you were looking down during my
I saw,
presentation.
listen,
What is the difference of this people walking by on Somerset versus people walking by on Pleasant? There isn't one. Come on, guys. Please.
When we compromise,
Is this yours here? Isn't this yours here?
Bill, why don't you give him 12 chickens on the
Okay,
side?
so what I'm saying is, it's not like I haven't seen it. I have seen it. I actually saw it on
Bill,
Facebook.
stop talking. Why don't you give him 12 chickens on the side?
The sniper. Bill, stop talking.
Instead of 6 chickens on the front. Compromise.
I don't care about the number of chickens.
All right, so.
Hold on, just pose the question. Answer the question. Come on. Give us a break, will you?
Okay, so, of course, I think he was my kid's teacher. I've been around forever. He's a very nice guy. He's very educated. He's very charming. And I knew there was a lot of stuff going on. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just reading something blindly from the CDC. I wanted to say, you know what? He's super passionate about this. Let me make sure I'm being fair. Let me research. So I did. And you know, I did because I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Because I always want to be fair to people. I never want to be unfair. And maybe I'm just stuck in this world with buying the food or whatever, and I don't think of this chicken thing, whatever. Anyways, so I did reach out to the local vet, which I'm sure is the same local vet you reached out to.
Yeah, she signed the petition as well.
Okay, so I did, and I reached out to a chicken farm. So
Which one, if you don't mind me?
I'll when I get to that, hold on one
Thank
second. So anyways, and of course, I'm not gonna give you exact names, but we know who we're talking about because I didn't ask if I could. I want to be fair. Okay, and so, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, find out again and ask people who are in the field, different things. So she said, as far as chickens, she doesn't think the front or the backyard makes much of a difference as long as the chickens are in a coop and not right up against the fence where people can handle the birds. The biggest issue is when people handle their pet chickens or the public handles the birds and don't wash their hands. If the coop is not right up against the fence, I don't feel there is any greater risk with coop chickens than there is with wild birds. Immune compromised people shouldn't have chickens as pets. If they are free range in the yard, I would recommend that they need to be sure the public walking by can't handle the chickens. I am not a chicken specialist, but I hope that helps.
Okay. So basically what she just said is there's really no problem, right?
From
There is
the
no
vet, yeah,
difference.
none.
There is no difference. But it's the people that handle the chickens that might be the problem. So, you know, dogs you can get rabies, leptospirosis, sarconic scabies, ringworm, roundworm, what else? Hookworms from your dogs in your house. You have a better chance of that happening from your dog. Because, you know, your dog goes out and eats the grass, right? See dogs that eat grass, right? That's how they start. They ingest the larvae, and it starts. Hookworm, ringworm, any of that stuff. Chickens, on the other hand, very slim chance if they're isolated. Very slim chance of any of that happening. But your dog, who you let run in the dog park, right, has a better chance of getting you a zoonotic disease than a chicken, as I think, Kurt, you said that earlier, right? Or you said it during the meeting, I believe.
Let me interject for 1 second. So like you said, I hadn't really been by your house, whatever. My mother lives on Johnson. I picked her up on Friday. Probably, I want to say it was 3:30. I didn't see you in the yard. I saw two elderly people walking by with a dog and the chicken was up against the sidewalk.
Yeah, I was in the side yard.
Okay, so that's clearly that's what she's saying is the concern. And, you know, so I mean, of course, everything is where it is, but that's violated what the concern is too. So, okay. And so then I also called Codman Farm, Pete and Jen's backyard birds.
And they're located where?
They are located Newton or something. I called a million. I called Natick Community Article Fam. I called Urban. And so I called anyone who would talk to me. She also mentioned that there is an expert place, which then I got busy and I wasn't able to do. But, you know, you could always reach out to them as too. That's UMass Amherst Agricultural Extension. Have you
Are
spoken?
they in Grafton? No, that's Tufts.
Amherst. And they, you know about them. Yeah, they bridge the urban and they do the research on the ground. So like they're sort of the, you know, whatever. Anyways, but Jen works with them, knows them, whichever. So I just said to her, you know, I'm trying to be fair and there's this, you know, this gentleman in town and he has this in the front yard and, his yard is small, he can't have it at the back, and, have you ever seen have your flock ever had a problem? Have you ever had viruses? The CDC says this, and is it a huge problem or is it a little problem? I don't know. The CDC, I'm just trying to do my due diligence and make sure I'm asking people who boots the ground, right? And she said, the ones we're concerned about, like the salmonella, the campylobacteria, all of that, she hasn't seen so much of that. And again, she started out as a backyard coop. She has 1,200 birds in the flock now, but they started out as a backyard coop. She is in charge of the education. She's been doing it for over 20 years. They're all egg-laying birds, whatever. She says there are a few concerns that she would say. And first of all, where are the people sourcing their birds? That's a huge thing. So if they're not getting them from like a reliable source or whichever,
same thing with
you already
pets,
can get
like
these birds
puppy
and have no
mills
idea.
and kitten mills.
She's talking about the hatching and the beaks and the stomach and the illness, which, okay. So I did say, and you have to make sure they're vaccinated against illnesses. But I also said, well, do you offer a certification? Because, maybe one person knows this, but does everyone knows this? I mean, there is not a certification thing. So that's something that there is nothing yet. I haven't had a chance to call the agriculture, but if you want to, but there should be some sort of certification because, just like, dog owners, there should be for that too, or even.
What?
So there
Has she lost her mind?
There actually is a way to get certification for different things. NPIP, actually, you can be certified in different areas of chicken and all different things.
She just said dogs too. You should get certified to dogs. Okay, listen, she's quoting a lady that worked with chickens for 20 years. Todd, you know this. And Kurt, you probably know. I worked with dogs for 32 years of my life, and I'm only 59. More than half of my life, I have a degree in canine science. I trained, I've done it all, right? And I'm telling her, if she's watching, dogs are more of a hazard to spread diseases to humans than chickens are. This is a fact because more people are in touch with dogs than they are with chickens. Her rationale is flawed, just like the last one's rationale was flawed. Totally flawed. Only stating points that make no sense to make sure they get what they want. Dogs, listen.
Parents, for that matter, because not everyone's qualified to do what they're doing. And if we're talking about health and all of this,
not everyone's qualified to do what they're doing. What are you doing? What are they doing? What are they doing?
Should be certifications that are in place that you're doing it right, he's doing it right. Because if you think you're doing it right and you're not, then everyone should be doing the same thing.
So once a year, everybody that owns a dog has to go get recertified. That's what she's saying. You know what we did that? We did that in the military, and we did that in U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Once a year, we had a national certification. But these were working dogs. These were working dogs, not pets. Flawed rationale.
So that's something that, whatever. But she said the major concern that she has, and I'm sure you're aware of it, is the fungus. So they put off the histoplasmosis. She said that is a major concern. And it's a major concern because it's airborne. And she said it should not be in a front yard for that reason, because when he tends to the manure and the birds and things fluster up, it becomes airborne. So people walking by, not normal people, but people that are not immune compromised, they'll probably be fine. They might get a little viral, a little bit of cough, a headache, a little slight fever, some chills, but they'll recover. But those who are immune compromised or those women who are pregnant could spontaneously abort. It's similar to the toxoplasmosis if someone has a cat, right? So that's a concern because
did you hear that?
Granted,
if someone has a cat.
Yeah.
Did you hear her say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. They don't do anything with cats. No, don't worry about what cat sickness brings.
And there's a bazillion of them running around outside.
Feral cats.
It's unbelievable.
This is if they don't watch themselves, which I don't know if they go back and watch these things, but again, this is Cotton 4K. Both of them, along with Bill, have the worst arguments or the worst defense on what they want to do None of this makes any sense. They're all over the place. They are all over the place.
But you
And
got to give
happening
Jeannie
when-
some additional credit. She actually took additional steps to get more information.
Right,
She's
but
the
what
only
she
one
did
out
with
of
the
the
information.
three that did.
Now, remember, when someone digs up information to prove a point, Kurt, what do? They skew it.
Yes.
They're going to skew that information.
Statistics to benefit what you want. the message to be.
Exactly. So we don't know the conversation she had with this lady. This lady could have been 99% in favor of, yeah, there's nothing wrong here. So tell me what's not right. Just that's really what I'm interested in.
So this fungus, if you look at the data behind the fungus, you're even less likely, far less likely than getting salmonella from chickens. If you don't keep your coop up and keep it clean, you might run that potential of getting this stuff. But if you look at the data behind that fungus, again, there's not really much up here in the New England area based on different areas. Yeah, it happens here, but it's construction sites tend to have it a lot more frequently than chicken coops.
That's right. And not for nothing. I obviously, if my pregnant wife got sick walking by Vasily's house, I would be upset, but not at Vasily. Like her health is our issue. If we're worried about what people are breathing in Winthrop, wherever they walk, we might as well stay indoors.
Well, how about that airport? You want to start talking about breathing?
We have
Jeannie?
an airport, right? If we're going to legislate and make ordinances protecting people walking by
From
someone's
breathing.
house, it's nonsensical, and you
But
might as well make everybody stay home.
You got the cancer rate in Winthrop, which nobody fucking talks about. I'm sorry I swore, but that's the bottom line. I don't care. I'm sorry, Father Walter. Forgive me. He's my guy. He's in my head every time I do this. You notice I used to swear more. But he's kind of my guy. She's talking about breathing in a fungus, a chicken poop fungus. But we live next to Logan Airport. Are you kidding me?
It's just I don't get it. I don't get it.
So I guess this is probably Vasily or Vasily, as she called him.
Vasily.
He said expert advice from the town vet, but that's not good enough. See, they're only going to look for stuff they want. Like I said, Kurt, this is the cherry picking.
Well, just to go back to her example, I respect that research. But my follow-up question is, documented cases of people actually getting sick from this in your 1,200 chicken farm? Like, can we get some numbers about something to be concerned about? Because there are plenty of things flying around in the air that we're not banning or restricting, based upon something that might happen in a 1 in a million shot.
Plus that chicken coop issue, like if it's dirty, that's why you have them inspected. That's why you have animal control. Well, just look at it and say, looks a little dirty, clean it up. Right? There's only 5 coops, it seems like, in Winthrop that are on the books. Sure, it wouldn't be hard to do. You could probably do that in Winthrop in probably less than an hour. You hit all 5 coops on a Friday afternoon, then go home. Take pictures, boom, coop looks dirty, send it to them, and clean your coop. That's it.
I believe if you reread the new regulation, the animal officer is actually the one who comes to approve the coop. I'm going to double check that. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is the animal officer who
all about
does that.
Oh, and by the way, if you're ever going to have Bill the Shill Schmidt over your house, anybody watching, you better clean up.
He might find something.
He might find something and then make an ordinance about it. So if you invite him to your house for an event, make sure your stuff, clean up that backyard. Make sure that front, everything's tight, because he'll go back. He'll make an ordinance.
1,000, yeah, but if one person's mother dies or one person's wife has a spontaneous abortion because that's a concern. So, I mean, that might be something more to look into. And is there a way to eliminate that?
Deep.
This was her major concern. She said, I wouldn't be worried about all the other stuff. It's the histoplasmosis, it's the fungus. It happens here. I've seen it happen. That's a So
How many documents,
Bird feeders are worse than chicken
how many
coops.
cases did she tell you about?
she's talking about her flock.
Right. but
She has
does
1,200 birds she's been doing for 20 years.
Right, but does she know of people from her flock who have gotten sick from this
No.
issue you just brought up?
Yeah,
How many? Over how long of a time?
she's an expert.
She has
She's been doing it for
1,200.
20 years.
She's an expert. She's an expert. She's an expert. That's all she keeps saying. She's an expert.
I was
20 years.
trying to get to
20
the-
years.
Right? You know, just because it's a concern and she's seen it happen at her 1,200 chicken coop, you know, that doesn't mean, okay, we should then not have chicken coops. Like, I just would
know
like to know the number of people who actually who died from it, not just got sick.
There's a big difference between 1,200 and 12, which is now going to be 6, 5. Kurt,
6.
6.
6. There's a huge difference there.
She's
No, I know.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The quantity, it's 1,200.
Yeah, she's
versus
1,200
6,
birds.
Right?
Yeah, no, we're just, but again, I wouldn't have an expert if they only had 6 birds. 'cause
Expert,
that's not an
expert.
you have to have an expert.
If this was a drinking game, we'd be drunk by now.
So the
The amount of
question
times
is,
she said expert.
did she verify her expert has certification?
Exactly.
Because
She's
you
an
know,
expert.
Anybody can be an expert if you have knowledge, right? But
No, Kurt, but she's an
based on
expert.
this-
She's been doing it for 20 years. She's an expert.
Hey, we have a post here. And this is actually Vasily right here. Pull up the epidemiology report about histoplasmosis in the United States. No deaths from coops or outbreaks since 1989, 1990.
So they're grasping at some serious straws here.
I mean, I hate to do this type of thing, but this is why an open discussion is important and to take other people's questions seriously. No one was trying to challenge Jeannie. I was not trying to challenge her in that moment. I thought she might have had some actual figures on sickness and death. Thank you, Vasily, for the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll find with almost everything that they keep alluding to, the amount of sickness you'll get from chickens, the data is not there.
No,
Now
and
you
that's
can go in
what
and
counts.
click whatever you want, and the NIH, the CDC, and yeah, you're going to get the reports, the studies that say, oh, people get sick from it, this and that. And but
I'm gonna
if
throw-
you do
sorry.
the ratio of any other sickness and try and align it with, there's over 1 point, what is it? I don't know how many million or up to almost 2 million people get sick from salmonella from food. Now, if you break down the percentages, you are like a 0.01 or something like that for getting it from chickens in comparison. It's so small.
Where was the Board of Health on bike lanes?
It's not their purview.
It's public health. People get killed in bike lanes.
That's a safety issue, though. That's more like police and.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but if we're trying to protect people from every risk there is, which that's what logically, what else are they doing here? Are they either hate chickens, and I'm kind of being loose with that definition, or they really are concerned about the public health. And if let's go with that. If they are, bike lanes are more dangerous than chicken coops.
You know what this is? This is one big what if. That's all this is to them. They're one big what if. But what if? What if? Well, you know, the chickens are safe. They're in a vault. They're locked in. They got an air chamber that's purified. But what if the purifier doesn't work? Well, then we get a new one and then that one. But what if the vault opens up? They're just going to keep what ifing this.
So if
That's
you think
all
about
this
this
is.
too, being that you've been in the canine field for a long time,
32 years. I'm an expert.
if you, yes, you are.
I'm an expert.
If you were to reach over the fence and that dog bites you, whose fault is it?
It's your fault.
Yours.
But the
It's
dog
yours for
always
reaching
loses.
over.
But the
If
dog
you reach
always
over to
loses.
pet a chicken, whose fault is it?
Yeah.
The person.
Yeah.
It's
But they'll
your
blame the
fault
chicken.
for crossing over the line.
But they'll blame the chicken. The animal always loses in these cases. Most of the time, the animal loses. They're going to say that was the chicken's fault. But you're right. I'm not arguing. I'm saying you're right. You're absolutely 100% right. You
So
know?
even if the chicken comes up to a fence, if you're not touching it, you're not going to get sick from it.
But you might the dust up of the fungus.
But it's not there.
It's so strong. That fungus is so strong. It overwhelms all the toxic fumes that are being dumped on Winthrop daily. That chicken fungus dust is so strong. You wouldn't believe it.
That little kid that walks by that just finished a package of sugar babies and is sucking on a lollipop is in more danger from diabetes and obesity than they are from anything from a chicken.
Yeah. The kid that eats the bag of Doritos and 7 Monster energy drinks, playing video games all night. Don't worry about him.
Here's a challenge.
But if he walks by a chicken, oh boy.
Here's something I'd like to see the Board of Health take up, and it was said earlier by one of the viewers. Let's talk about mental health and depression. Let's talk about what your support of the shutdown of the schools has done to young children.
No, they won't.
And how we can do something locally. Can we have groups? Can you help us organize groups? Like, do something productive rather than reductive.
Yeah. Reach over the fence and the BOH would deem it an attractive nuisance.
Yeah,
That's right. But
such
we're
a
talking two different scales, Gene. We're talking 12 to 6 to 12 birds versus 1,200.
There
The
you go.
odds of this
Yeah.
histiocytic thing is much diminished.
Well,
Because of that.
that's something to look into. I mean, she's the one
That's why I asked the question.
That's UMass Agricultural Extension.
So can I quickly just touch on that too? They actually have a kids course for chickens there at UMass Amherst.
So that's probably it's probably this school
Yeah, they teach
this department.
kids
So
about-
they bridge that and they do some information, but I'm just saying, I mean, if I'm calling the chicken farm and they're saying that, and now we're talking the front yard, the side yard, if you ask me, I'm concerned about either side. Because I'm concerned about, his father walking by, this one who's pregnant walking by. I mean, I'm just, because granted, okay, so it happens to, I don't know the statistics. I was looking for numbers, I couldn't find them, but say it happens to 1 in 5,000. If your wife ever spontaneously aborted because she walked by and you guys are walking the dog, that's heartbreaking.
This is going she is so off the rails right now. She might think that she's making a point here, but this is so off the rails, digging deep, just digging as deep as she can to preserve her stance on this.
I don't know why. I don't know. I get fearful to ask questions because I don't want to insult anybody, but I try to understand the logic. Like, you really think it's important to legislate to protect the one?
The maybe one.
Like the maybe. It's
so
highly
everything
unlikely.
that they do should be based on maybes.
And by the way, pregnant women know better. They do. It's not the public's responsibility. This somehow during COVID got messed up. It's not if you're immunocompromised, if you're diabetic, if you are smoking bothers you, it's up to you to stay away from those things. Not a free American.
But she would say, but what if she didn't know the chicken coop was there?
Oh my God.
And what if it was a windy day? And what if the wind was blowing east and she was downwind? And what if that fungus got up in the air? And what if it traveled the 37 feet? And what if she just happened to take a deep breath? And what if? This is what she's doing.
And I would say, I'm going to play the lottery and I'm going to pay that family half of my winnings because obviously I'm going to win.
Yeah. And what if it didn't happen? What if none of that happened?
By the
way,
way,
they don't think that way.
She knows. She even said the odds are not in the favor. 1 in 5,000. You'd be lucky if it's 1 in 30,000.
More than that, Kurt.
Yeah,
more than that.
Way more than that.
Way more than that.
Right.
I mean, you just go off from the report that Vasily posted up. You go look at that. You're gonna see that.
Yeah.
It's
there's 3 things that you have. It's an amazing percentage. You're gonna get struck by lightning. You're gonna win the lottery for $1 billion, and you're gonna catch chicken fungus walking downwind next to Vasily's yard.
So in fact, if you really think about it, and I guarantee we can go on the CDC or some kind of site for health, construction sites, regular everyday construction sites have more airborne particulates that you breathe in. So no pregnant women should ever even be around any construction site because there's also that possibility that they can get ill.
Again,
Have we had any histoplasmosis outbreaks in the Seaport district? Because that place has been under perpetual construction for years.
Listen, Jack Dowd said it at the beginning of this meeting. Bird feeders.
Bird baths, bird feeders. Yeah.
Bird feeders. There's more bird shit around bird feeders than in bird baths with stagnant water
and rats
and poop all around it and rats than 6 chickens.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
But they won't touch that. They won't even think of that. Wild birds. So
If someone dies, it's heartbreaking.
But there's also other diseases and bacteria
Same thing can happen
that
with dog
go through the year and
God.
you know what I mean? Like there's other things we can be
Whoops.
that could cause something like that.
Right, well, then the other thing with that, she said, is that the birds that are most often, and they can interact with each other and then it can spread. So this can spread to rats and mice and sparrows and pigeons and then I'm just saying,
but it's the other way around too. The rats, the pigeons, and the sparrows can spread it
to the chicken. And
you know how they would do that? Bird feeders.
And give it to us humans.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, listen, we're at an hour and 20 minutes about. You want to pick this up again next week?
I just want to say one quick thing about this whole video.
Yeah.
They pick it up after we all leave again.
Yes. That's why we can continue this again. I mean, if you want to do it again Thursday night, do quick turnarounds.
Yeah, let me I got to check the schedule, but I think I can do it.
All right, what about you, Kurt?
I'll have to double check too. I'm doing a lot of work lately. Double duty at work, 2 different jobs going on.
Look at you.
A little hectic.
I'm 90% on Thursday night. 99.
All right.
Actually.
Yeah. We'll just do a quick turnaround. We because this is again, this isn't really about the chickens. It's about the overreach in the decisions that they're making based on something that they just don't like. They just don't want chickens in the front yard. They just don't. It's a what is it? What kind of nuisance is it? An
Attractive.
This is the bottom line, and they are digging in but I hope they watch this and see how it's going to say it with all due respect to the 2 women, because I do like them. And it's hard when you seem to like somebody and you have to kind of criticize them. But we're here not to, soften things up. This is going on. This is what the Board of Health is doing. And if you think they're doing it with this, what have they done in the past that we didn't know about?
Yeah, when they don't have Zooms. And I guarantee you're going to start seeing that they don't do Zoom anymore.
Oh, I hope they don't. You know why? I was talking to Todd about this. I hope they stop doing Zoom meetings. Because that means we got to them. That means we were right. That'll prove our point 100%.
You can go in and say, I'm recording this.
Yeah.
And they can't say no.
That's right.
Yep. Just set your camera up and walk away. Just set up a camera. You can go outside. You don't have to really be there.
I've got my FOIA in requesting all complaints. Email, telephone, text messages, you name it. I requested every single one of them for chickens.
Yeah.
Because he did say on the video there are complaints and he got calls from it.
Yeah.
Now, if he got calls from it, he should have documented that.
Yeah. He documents that. If you see, evidently he comes into this meeting, he always has this briefcase and he takes out like 1,000 sheets of paper, puts them on there, and he's always looking like in every meeting, his minutes are just extended from last month's and last month's and last month's and last month's. So he seems to document everything.
And watch what he does too. He passes the buck for other people to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, this is a really bad look. This is a really bad look. They're just talking in circles. And they're not making sense. Not making sense. But
they're doing what David Byrne told them to do. Stop
making sense.
Dang. I had to give you
my music podcast. Yeah.
Bingo.
I knew that. All right, Kurt. Well, listen, man, we're going to be back Thursday, it sounds like. We're going to continue this. Strike while the iron is hot. We do have a bunch of other things. I know I have other things lined up to talk about, but this is the hot ticket item right now. The Board of Health's overreach. It's not about the chickens, it's about their overreach.
I'm gonna add to that, Scott. It's about their overreach and them and not taking up things like mental health and alcoholism and a number of other issues that we have going on in Winthrop.
And if Bill said they've been working on this since 2016, I'd love to see the work they've done up till now. Right? He did say that in a meeting. So I mean, should the chairman of the Board of Health be lying? Is that grounds for removal? Lying?
Got to prove it.
Well, he said they've been working on it since 2016. Right?
Yeah.
That was one of his points. We have it. We have it on video, caught in 4K. This isn't a new issue. This isn't a new issue. We've been working on this since 2016. The police mind, I catch everything, Kurt. I catch everything.
Yep. And then you have somebody saying, "Oh, this is a new issue."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to know, Bill. We want to know what they've been working on. I wonder if we can FOIA. Can you FOIA a specific item? Or you just need all
probably
the...
best to start with the agenda and then meeting minutes, and then you can FOIA any communications from those dates, I think.
Can we find agendas from 2016
Are they even
moving
up?
forward?
I think the Board of Health is, I'll give them kudos on that. They generally get their notes up pretty.
Okay, so we could try to research back to
time
2016 and see if we caught him in a lie.
Correct.
And then
The thing is, you can keep working on it. It's been on the agenda over and over for a long time.
Should still be there. It should
So
be
it's
on
been
there,
on
right?
multiple agendas. So
Probably
it
is
should be.
still there.
Chicken coop.
have you seen the agendas?
Me, yeah, I've seen some of them. They're outrageous. It's a novel. They don't get smaller; they get bigger.
Well, it should be then it should be in there from 2016.
Right.
All right. Something to work on. But Kurt, my friend, thanks for coming on. If you can come back on Thursday, you're not doing. Come on for 10 minutes. Come on for an hour. It's fine.
Or don't come on at all. Whatever you can do.
But don't come on. That's right. Just insult us, and we're fighting so hard for you, Kurt, and you're just going to stand us up.
We're all friends here now, or are we?
It's going to
Does that
stand
hurt,
us up.
Kurt? Does my friendship hurt or help you?
I don't think Kurt
It all depends who
cares.
I talk to.
Yeah, and I don't think he cares. He doesn't seem to be the kind of guy that's like, he gets, that's your issue, not mine.
That's it. That's it.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
Kurt, for
listen.
coming on, buddy.
Yeah. Todd,
All right.
all politics starts at the what?
Local level, my friend.
There you
And
go.
if this isn't more evidence, though, like again, this isn't. If you're watching this, call the Board of Health, email them, tell them to listen to reason and at least listen to the people and stop digging in, and then tell them to work on mental health. Like, this is a huge issue. This overreach is a huge issue. They've got too much power. They basically were able to shut down the schools in during the pandemic when we had the option to open, and they said no.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, like I always say, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you like it, share it. If you didn't, thanks for watching this long. And we'll be back Thursday night. We're going to do 2 a week. We did that during election season last year.
yeah,
Right?
let's not get crazy though.
No. But I think we want to stay on this until this is done and then see where it goes. Their next meeting is what? Next month, right? April.
I think it's April
11th.
Oh, was it 11th? I thought it was the 14th for some reason.
I'll be on a cruise ship around the
Yeah,
is
so
it
that
Caribbean or Caribbean? How do you say
Yeah.
it? Caribbean or
It's
Caribbean?
The 11th.
who cares? You're going to be in it,
I'm going to be in it. Yeah.
and we probably should
Aruba.
think about that show in Ixnay on the Ote on that day,
What's that?
right? When you're going, will be no show. I got to.
Oh no, I am not doing a show
Yeah, not from the
from
boat.
the world's largest cruise ship. That would be kind of cool, though, wouldn't it?
It would be if you could actually walk around the deck and like,
I could. My wife, she wouldn't mind. She'd be like, "Yeah, go have fun. Who
Yeah,
cares?"
carry a chicken around with you.
oh yeah, it's overseas.
plenty-
You can't bring poultry over the border.
Look at I'm going to be getting. Oh, by the way, I read something today that they said there's the chickens. I saw a video. I didn't watch it though. It was on Vice actually. How wild chickens are overtaking South Florida. Uh-oh.
Biggest
Watch
fears have
it.
come true.
I'm going to find that video. I'll put it on Winthrop Loves Chickens. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you next Thursday night. This Thursday night.
Peace
All
out.
right,
Have a good night.